From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 24th, 2017. Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day celebrations, which were kicked off last night, continue today in Jerusalem as the city marks 50 years since its reunification. Special events held today include the annual Flag Dance Parade, as well as two state memorial ceremonies, one to pay tribute to some 4,000 Ethiopian immigrants who died on their way to Israel, and a state memorial for IDF soldiers who fell in the Six-Day War. Both were held on Mount Herzl in Jerusalem. Israel's Knesset also held a special session for Jerusalem Day today, which was attended by Israel's President Reuven Rivlin, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Opposition Chairman Isaac Herzog, and Knesset Speaker Yuli Edelstein, who all addressed the parliament. Netanyahu took the opportunity to speak of U.S. President Donald Trump's visit to Israel, which concluded yesterday. He said Trump's visit to the Western Wall in Jerusalem had, quote, destroyed UNESCO's propaganda and lies, referring to the recent resolutions by the UN cultural body that ignores Jewish ties to the city. Herzog, in his remarks, spoke of seizing the moment for peace to separate from the Palestinians and create two states. And chairman of the Jewish Agency, Natan Sharansky, released a statement marking Jerusalem Day. He said Israel's reunification inspired Soviet Jews. Sharansky said when the soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces broke through the gates of Jerusalem's Old City, they also punched a hole in the Iron Curtain, inspiring us Soviet Jews to start our struggle for freedom. There were some clashes also reported today during the celebrations between Israeli police officers, guards from the Islamic Waqf who administer the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and Jewish visitors to the holy site. Some 15 Jewish activists were arrested by Israel police after they bowed down in prayer at the site, which is not allowed. 2 Waqf guards were also said to have been detained. The mother of terror victim Ezra Schwartz addressed the United Nations Security Council today in New York, urging them to pressure the Palestinian Authority to stop rewarding terrorists. Ruth Schwartz spoke at a special forum at the UN organized by Israeli Ambassador Dani Danon. If you recall, Ezra Schwartz, a Jewish-American teenager, was killed by a Palestinian terrorist in 2015. His mother told the council today that the so-called martyr stipends given by the PA to the families of terrorists are just another way to glorify and encourage terrorism. She said, I am here to make a simple request. Please do not kill. Please do not reward people who kill, because, she said, that is as if you are doing the killing yourselves. The Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan turned down a request by lawyers for Jonathan Pollard to ease the conditions of his parole. We reported to you last week that Pollard's lawyer, Elliot Lauer, had asked the court to reconsider the conditions, which include Pollard's wearing a tracking device and prevent him from leaving his residence from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and from using the internet freely. The court today rejected the appeal, stating that the parole board had been within its rights when it set those conditions. Lauer told the Jerusalem Post that he was disappointed in 2 respects. First, the result. Second, in that the court did not step out of the checklist and confront the commission on the manifest injustice of the onerous and unnecessary restrictions. Pollard, who pled guilty in 1986 to conspiracy to commit espionage for Israel, served 30 years in prison for his offenses. He was released in November of 2015. A school in Poland held a special ceremony yesterday to remember 87 Jewish schoolgirls who were expelled in 1939 during the Nazi occupation of the country. The No. 2 middle school in Krakow unveiled a plaque commemorating the expulsion in an event said to be one of a growing number of efforts to remember the Jews who lived in Poland before the Holocaust. About 2 years ago, the school contacted Yad Vashem, Israel's memorial to the Holocaust, to try and find out what happened to the schoolgirls. Lital Be'er, who is director of the museum's Reference and Information Services, said her researchers found that 21 of the girls were killed in the Holocaust. 24 had survived, but the fate of the others could not be determined. Well, May is Jewish Heritage Month, and members of Congress from both sides of the aisle took part in a special event today at the Capitol, honoring individuals and organizations for their achievements. Awards were presented to Rabbi Yechiel Eckstein, who founded the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, to Shani Verkschleiser, who is a child welfare expert, and to the organization Sparks, that helps women in crisis. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, May the 24th. At 7 o'clock, it's From the Aleph Bet. At 7:30, Leslie Wexner of the Wexner Foundation talks about what Jewish leadership means. At 8, National Director Emeritus of the Anti-Defamation League, Abe Foxman, and former Ambassador Stuart Eisenstadt speak at the Foundation for Preservation of Visual History of the Jewish People Awards Gala in New York. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Jack Laub, who talks about his journey and his Jewish identity on tonight's L'chaim. And at 10, Shachar Azani speaks to Jewish students on millennial perspectives. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 24th, 2017. I'm Teisha Bader.